Hey guys, it's Steph here with Crafty Ladybug. This lesson is going to be on the witch's cauldron and the bubbles that go inside the witch's cauldron. You're going to be needing two different shades of green for the bubbles as well as some white to make the connecting pieces. This is going to be what we start on first. The actual cauldron is made with just black bands, and to be honest, I did not count the amount of bands that are needed, but I'm guessing somewhere around 150. So gather your supplies and come back and we will start with our bubbles. Now that you have your supplies and you're ready to go, our bubbles consist of a lighter green and a darker green on one little piece, connected by a white band that we slip knot off, and then another set of one light green, one darker green little bubble piece that we're going to slip knot in together. I think you should make around 20 of these. I'm going to make just a few on camera with you, and then you'll have to pause the video and make the others off camera. Then we'll gather them up and I'll show you how to place them at the end of the video once the cauldron's done. So to begin, you just want to take one of your green bands and you want to wrap it around your hook so that it looks like there are 4 bands on there. Take another green band, wrap that around your hook to make it look like there are 4 bands of it on there. And you take a piece of your white, one band of white, and you convert those 2 sets of greens over, reclaim the end of the white, and just slip knot that right off. If you've made my Loom-LESS popcorn, it's similar to the Loom-LESS popcorn. Our next step will be to take a green again, the darker green, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Make it appear as there are 4 bands on there. The lighter green, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Make it appear as there are 4 bands of it on there. And then we're going to grab this portion of the white and we're going to convert that over onto the white, pulling that through. Oops, that one slipped off. My white slipped off. So you have your first cluster on one side. All the bands are converted here. And then we're going to take our white and push through our first end and then tie that tighter in a slip knot for the other side. So you're using the first end as a slip knot for the other side. So you can either rewind that video and watch that again, or follow along with me as I make another set for you. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. A white piece. Convert over, reclaim, and slip knot. Darker green, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Lighter green, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull that through, convert, and push through your first end. Release and tie your slip knot. So there we go. That's our bubbles for our little cauldron. So as I said, actually you might only need to make about 10, but you'll have a good judge once we get the pot built as to how many we need. And when we do the pot, I'm going to show you how we can make them coming down the pot further. So it's a simple little task. Make as many as you wish. You can use them for other things, kind of just set it at the base of it, maybe if we have extras. We'll see what we can do with those at the end of the video. So pause your video here, make more of these. Like I said, about 10 to 15, 20 might be too much. So just go ahead and make those and set those off to the side, and we'll be back to start the cauldron in just a moment. Hey guys, it's Steph here with Crafty Ladybug again. We're going to start on our cauldron portion of the witch's cauldron. We're first going to be laying double bands around to form the rim in 14, so we're going to be using 14 pegs on our loom. Your loom is set in the straight configuration, and I've got my centerpiece removed so I can easier, is that even a word? Easier show you on camera what I'm doing. So we're going to do 14 around, then we're going to lay another row of 14, then we're going to be increasing to 18, then 18, then we're going to decrease to 16, decrease to 14, and then decrease to 12, and add our feet in and close off our cauldron. So let's begin by taking 2 bands, and we're going to place them at the top here, going from left to right, left to right, left to right, left to right, and left to right. That was coming down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, going from left to right. Now we're going to take 2 bands and we're going to come down a set of pegs, 2 bands again, and we're coming down another set of pegs. We're basically making a rectangle. And now we're going to work from this peg to the left. So we're working from the right to the left now. Two bands. Now we need to close off this area here. So 2 bands going from the bottom to the center. And 2 bands are going to go from the center over to here. But before we do that, we need to pick up our first set of bands because I need to lay this set down and then replace my first set of bands. And that is my starting point. This is going to be my starting point. And because this is row number 1, I'm taking a single band, so I don't lose track as to how many rows I'm on. I'm taking a single band and I'm just setting it right down here so that I know that I'm on row number 1. Now that we have that complete, we need to loop this shut as a single chain. And it's going to be a little tricky on this portion because we're in an awkward movement with our pegs. We're going to be moving down with our pegs. So start off up here at your starting point. Reach in, grabbing the bottom 2 bands, and move over to your center. Reach into your center peg, grabbing the bottom 2 bands, and moving over to the left. This is the tricky part because you need to reach in through those bands, pick up the bottom 2, wiggle them out, and bring that down. So we're doing a backwards chain in this area. Reaching in, bottom 2, and come down. Reach in, grabbing the bottom 2. You want to make sure that your others don't fall off, and come down. Reach in, bottom 2. I can't get both of those on this one. So I'm reaching in, grabbing my bottom 2, wiggle them out, and come down. Reach in, bottom 2, wiggle out, and come down. This portion's slightly easier. You're going to reach in, grabbing your bottom 2. I said it would be easier and I'm struggling. And move over to your right. Reach in, bottom 2, and come over to the right. And now we're going to single chain up, bottom 2, bottom 2, bottom 2, bottom 2. And this odd little shape, you actually do need to reach in and grab those bottom 2 and pull that up also. Now we're ready to begin to lay row number 2. And I work in a clockwise fashion, starting off at peg number 1. And I'm just laying a single band all the way around. And then I'm going to come down. And now I'm going to work my way over to the left again. Once again, these are all single bands. and that was row number 2. So I'm taking a single band and I'm just going to place it here for counting purposes. And now we are ready to loop over, grabbing all 4 on the bottom. So you only want 2 to stay at the top, the 4 on the bottom, and you're going to loop that over into the center. 4 here, loop over into the center. Bottom 4, loop over, bottom 4, loop over, bottom 4, going over, bottom 4. And this part's tricky on the ends because they're going to want to slide off. So you might need to hold on to these other bands as you're going over because they will want to slide off. Just do it gently. And bottom 4, come up and over, nice and slow. Bottom 4, nice and slow. I'm able to reach on this side, and we're taking 4 over, 4 over, 4 over, 4 and over, and the last peg, 4 and over. Nope, I'm sorry, that wasn't the last peg. We got one more here to do, and this one is very tricky. So you just want the bottom 4 and move those over. Now we can just take those and push all of those down because we're going to be loading it up again in just a moment. So that's our bottom 4, or set of 14, or 2 sets of 14. Now we need to do an increase to make it 18. So in order to do our increase, we're going to be taking, our loom is set up at its original place. This is our starting point. So for increasing it to 18, what we're going to be doing is starting off on our starting point. We're going to grab the band that's on the top and we're going to move it up to the left 1 time. So it's going to come off that peg and move over up into the left. Now you want to make sure it's the top band, and how you can tell it's the top band is that when you pull on it, it's connected to the peg that it came from. So we're extending that out. That's adding a number 15. That'll add a 15 row. I need to go to 16 on this side, and then I'm going to do number 17 and 18 over here. Now I know it's going to look a little strange, and it's going to be one of those science experiments again, but we're going to come over. We're grabbing the top band, making sure that it came from here, and we're going to extend this one over. So we have a weird science experiment going on, and when we do our lane's going to be a little bit different and awkward in this area. If you wanted to, we can actually pick up, and actually let's do that to make it just easier. Let's reach into this center peg, pick up those 2 items that are on it, and extend those out to the peg above it. And then you can just move those pieces up. There we go. So there we have a nice even looking set there. So that is number 17 and 8, or 14, 15, and 16. We need to do a similar situation down here for pegs number 17 and 18 to extend it out to 17 and 18. So I've turned my loom so that the arrow's facing from down going up. I'm going to reach into this peg here, grabbing the band that's on top, just tugging on it to make sure it's coming over to the center peg, and I'm placing that, extending it out 1 peg. I'm going to reach over here on the right, grabbing the band that's on top, making sure it's coming from one, and extend it over. Now we're going to do a similar thing that we did on the opposite end. We're just going to pick up these 2 bands here, and we're going to extend them out over that center peg and move that over. So now we're up to 18, and we're ready to start to lay our bands around the loom. So take everything that you have here, and we just need to make sure that we've got everything pushed down. And we're going to go around the loom, laying 18 bands, 18 single bands. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Now we're going to pick up our loom and we're going to loop items in. First one will be a single band over. Second one will be a single band over. Your third one's going to be 2 bands, 2 bands, 2 bands, 2 bands, a single band on this one, a single band on the next one, 2 bands here in the center, and that one's going to be a little difficult. Your center ones are going to want to come off, but you want to hold down those top 2 bands. Over here we're back to 1 band. Here we're at 1 band. You always want to make sure that you have 2 at the top. This is 2 bands coming over, 2 bands coming over, 2 bands coming over, 2 over, back to 1 band over, 1 band over, and the center one, which is going to be hard to get to, but it's 2 bands. You want the bottom 2 bands to come up and over. And then we just need to push that down. And that was row number 3. So I need to put row number 3 on my marker. That was our row number 3. And now we need to do another row of 18. Sorry for the noise. I'm just trying to keep track of and tally also. Row number 8, or I'm sorry, this is row number 4, and we're going to go 18 around again. So I'm just simply laying a single band out and on top of everything that I currently have, because I'm not doing any reductions or increases on this row. So just simply 18 around. And pushing down the items that are there, because you don't want them to get confused. And you don't want me to get confused. And I'm finishing up and closing off my circle of 18. And because that was row number 4, I'm marking number 4 over here on my counting bands. And now we want to pick up our loom. And all of these should be 2. These bands should all be 2 coming over. So grab your bottom 2 and pull over. Bottom 2 and pull over. Bottom 2 and over. Making sure that you're grabbing the bottom 2. And I didn't do such a good job on pushing all these down, so I'm just taking a second to push them down. So bottom 2 and over. 2 and over, 2 and over, 2 and over, 2 and over, 2 and over. Remember, your center ones are going to be difficult and they're going to want to slide off. 2 and over. Now on the back side, 2 and over, 2 and over, 2, quite repetitive motion, Just making sure that you're getting the bottom 2. And don't forget about our center one, which is awkward because it's hard to get to. I'm not going to lie, that one's just really difficult to pick up the bottom 2. And I just kind of tuck in and grab them and pull them over. So now just slightly push down, just a little bit, push those down. Because now on this step, we need to start to decrease. We need to shrink this guy back up. So to shrink him up, we need to go from 18 to 16. And I know lots of people have different ways of doing the shrinking. And I'm going to show you my way. And I'm not saying that my way is perfect, but I find it easy and I like it, so I'm just going to do it that way. So on our starting peg, we are actually going to be picking up our starting peg, and we're going to move the whole peg over below 1. So reach into your starting peg, grab those bands that are on it, loop it around your hook, and place it on what was our second peg. That is actually going to shrink it down by 2. We're going to do the same thing, or no, I'm sorry, that's going to shrink it down by 1, but we're going to do the same thing over here on the bottom left. We're going to pick that one up, pick those 2 bands up, and we're going to move it on top of its next peg on the left. So show you a closer view of how that looks. Here it is, peg number 1 where it was, over to 2. And then down here, you took this peg and you're just moving everything over. So that's going to give us 16 pieces around our loom. So now we can start to lay our 16 pieces around the loom. Here's number 1. And just push down everything so you don't get confused, and I don't get confused either. So we're just pushing down everything else that's left on there, way down to the bottom. There's number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10, number 11, number 12, number 13, number 14, number 15, and then we're going to do the diagonal there, which makes number 16. And I'm just putting my marker over here. And now we're going to loop in and over everything that we have down. You want to make sure that you have 2 pegs left, or 2 bands up on your peg. So anything that's below those 2 pegs, like this is a lot, is going to come over that peg. Here we've got only 2, and they're going to come over. If I can grab them, over. Here we've got 2 and over. You want to make sure that you're only leaving 2 at the top. Anything that's below that, those 2 go over. 2 and over. Here we've only got 2 over. Center peg, which is going to be wanting to fall off again. So just hold your finger over the top 2. This peg here has a lot on it. This is another one that's got a lot on it. It's got 4 on it. Pull that over, and you may need to hold on to your bottom 2 to get those over. 2 and over, 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 and here's our awkward center peg, which we need to get the bottom 2, and pull those over. Okay, now just take a moment and push all that down. And our next step is going to be to shrink again. We need to shrink again in 2 spots to bring it down to 14. Because I just shrunk it in right there, I don't want to move those 2 pegs again. I don't want to shrink it in right there because it gives it an odd look if you continue to shrink in the way that I do it in the same spot. So I am actually going to be choosing these 2 center pegs and these 2 pegs right here. And we're going to be shrinking in that area, and we're going to have to work around those as we do the shrink in. So on your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, peg number 8 on your right, our arrows are pointing towards our body. This was our original starting peg. So peg number 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Take peg number 8, pick that up, and move that to peg number 9. And make sure that you get everything down on peg number 9 from those 2. Over here on our left side, arrow still pointing towards our body. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to take peg number 8 and move it to peg number 7. Peg number 8 over to peg number 7. And now, as we work around the loom, it's going to be a little bit different. So pay close attention to this part. My arrow is still pointing up here. I'm taking a single band, and I'm going to go from peg number 2, where I started at 2 to 3. That's going to be a set there. We're going to do a set here. And because this band has nothing on it, I'm skipping over that band. You can either skip over it or you can go around it. I'm choosing to go around it today. So we're going to go from this peg around that one. We're not looping on it and coming back to the peg beneath it. You could have it over just like that and it's not going to make a difference, but I'm just moving it inside. So there's peg number, or band number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, long diagonal, number 7, number 8, and here we came to a vacant peg, so we're going to go around it for number 9, number 10, 11, 12, number 13, and finish off this diagonal makes number 14. I'm just adding a single one down here to keep track of my count. That was number 14. Now we're ready to loop over. Strange science experiment again. Bottom 2 bands coming over. Bottom 2 bands coming over. Bottom 2 bands flipping over. Nothing on this peg. Everything's over here. This is a lot on that one, so it's going to be 4 bands that you need to reach in and flip over. And as I said, you may need to hold on to your top 2 bands as you reach all those over. Next is 2 bands, reaching over, 2 bands coming over, my center portion at 2 bands coming over, reaching in, 2 bands coming over, 2 bands coming over. Nothing on this peg, so we need to skip it. We're moving on to 14, or not 14, I'm sorry. This one has 4 bands on it because it's where we shrunk. So 4 bands over, 2 bands coming over, 2 bands coming over, 2 bands coming over, And our center one, which is difficult to get to, but it's 2 bands on there. Flip those over. And once again, push down everything. And we need to shrink one more time. And our shrinking for this, I'm going to come back because I took a big chunk out of the center here. I'm just going to come over. I'm going to turn my loom, my arrows pointing towards my body. We're going to take this peg right here. We're going to pick it up and we're going to move it down 1 peg, stretching out those items. So once again, another vacant peg here in the center. Take the opposing peg and we're just going to pick it up and move it over to the one on top. And this is leaving us with 12. That's going to shrink us down to 12. Now on this 12, I need to add in my feet. So for our feet, we're going to work on our feet for a moment. Our feet are going to be a single band that you're going to 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like there's 4 times around. You're going to pull through 3 bands and reclaim. You're going to want to do this 3 times and just let that rest on the back portion of your hook. Once again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull 3 bands through. And reclaim. And push that back on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull 3 bands through and reclaim. And leave that on your hook. Okay guys, now we need to work on our last row. We've got our feet on our hook. For our last row, it's going to be a little bit confusing because we have got pegs that don't have anything on it because we did our shrinking. So for the first band that you're going to lay from our starting point. Don't go on that clear peg, the peg that has no bands, and we're looping it around to where there are more bands. That's number 1. Number 2 is going to go from where that band just ended around another vacant peg, and there's number 2. Here's number 3. And on peg number 4, this next set of pegs or next set of bands, we need to add a foot. So you're going to take a single band and you're going to convert your foot over onto that single band and then lay that down. That's number 4. Here we've got number 5. I'm going to turn my loom slightly. Diagonal number 6. Number 7. And number 8 needs to go around because this peg has nothing on it. Number 8. And I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Peg number 8, band number 8 needs to get a foot. So take that one off, place your foot on it. And now this is going to be really tricky because we have to place it where our band that we just laid ended. Here we have our vacant peg. That peg's vacant, so we need to go around it and then place it on the next peg. So this one's going to be a little awkward because of the color and the shape and everything. It's just a little messy there. This peg has nothing on it, so our next band goes around that peg. The next one has an easy part. And then we have here. And then we have one more foot that we need to add in. and that'll be on the last set. There you go. And now we should have 12, and we're just going to recount to make sure. Here's number 1, here's number 2, here's number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10, number 11, and number 12. So we have 12 bands. Now we need to loop those over. 2, there's nothing on this peg. This peg has a lot on it, so we're just going to reach in and grab those 4 and lift that over. Nothing on that peg. 2 here, lift that over. 2 here, lift those over. 2 here, lift those over. 2 here on the center, and those are going to want to slide off, your top 2. Here's 2 more, and over. 2 more, and over. Nothing on that peg. 2 here, and over. This peg has a lot on it. Number 4, 4 of those are going to come over. 2 and over, and our center one gets 2 and over on it also. So here we have got our cauldron done with our little feet poking out, and we just need to take it off the loom and close it up. Before we take it off the loom, take 2 black bands, and we're going to slip knot them together and just tie that in a slip knot, and we're going to use that to pull through the whole thing. So for taking this guy apart and doing the slip knot, I just simply am going to start here in the center and take those 2 bands off and secure it on my hook. And I'm just going to work my way around the loom, but I want to make sure that I hold on to this peg here. So take your thumb finger or another finger and hold over that peg, because as you reach in, that one's going to want to come off. So reach in, and I know that it's stretchy, and hopefully no bands break as we do this, but you're just reaching into the pegs and pulling off the 2 that are there and securing them on your hook. When you get to that portion, you can gently pull those off. And 2, and then it still wants to get caught, and 2, and 2, and then here are 2, and then I'm finally working my way back around to the starting, which is 2 there. So here our cauldron is kind of congested on our hook, and we need to take our hook, and we need to, I'm just scooting this down on my hook. I probably should have used my first end, just scooting that down, but I need to convert and pull this band through all of that. So I'm just taking that band and I'm pulling it through everything. And you just want to even up the band a little bit. And you can slip knot off. Actually, the slip knot won't work right there, but we need to secure this off. So we're going to actually tie it in a true knot, like you would tie a shoestring. Just secure those bands off in a knot. And then we just need to puff out our cauldron and give it a little stretch in our fingers, stretching those bands out so that it gives it a good shape. Pull our feet out to where they need to be. Hide your securing band up in there. And just give it a little puff and pull. And you just might need to fiddle with it just a little bit to get them stretched out into where they need to be. I just like to pull and tug and run it around my fingers. And here we've got our cute little cauldron with her feet hanging out, and my dangle band does not want to stay in there. I guess I tied that tight enough at the bottom. Depending upon how tight you tie your bottom will give it more definition and shape too. But here is our cute little cauldron, and it is now ready to add our bubbles. And because I didn't want to waste a whole lot of bubbles, I actually, you guys are going to freak out. In mine, I have an old hidden piece of a product that I used to have, like it was a sample piece. So I just shoved it in there. If you guys have extra bands, just take some extra black bands and shove in there, or put a cotton ball in there. Anything just to kind of keep the shape. And I'm just taking black bands and pushing in there. I'll probably change it out later for something else, but shove something in there just to make it keep its shape. And then for the bubbles, all I did for the bubbles is to take where I wanted it to come down the side. I just reached in to the center of one of these and pulled through a black band and slip knotted that off. Let me use my regular hook for that. Reach into the center of that slip knot, pull through another black band, and slip knot that off. So here you've got a little piece of black tail. And if you want it to overflow the cauldron and come down the cauldron more, reach inside, and I'm reaching all the way down to the bottom, and I'm just pulling that black band through. And if you don't like the spot that you chose for it, just simply pull it out and start all over. I'm going to do another one. I know my area is messy today. Another one slip knotted. I'm just going to randomly choose a little spot here and pull that band through. And that's giving the illusion that the bubbles are flowing over. And then for the top, to make it look like that, I have just done a similar thing where I've taken 2 or 3 bubbles, pierced through the center of their original white slip knot, and then pulled a black band through and slip knotted them off, and just simply take and place them inside your cauldron in different areas. And you can secure it. You guys are fully capable of figuring out how to secure them in there if you wanted them secured in. Mine don't get played with, so I don't have any need to secure them in. I just sort of lay them in and set it up on my counter, my work area, my display area. And as I stated before, depending upon how many bubbles you have or bubbles you want, just kind of place them in there, let them dangle over the edge, look like it's boiling out of the pot. But here we've got our cute little cauldron. I don't like these dangling down like that. I'm not going to lie, I don't like that. So I'm just going to tuck them in and let them bowl over wherever they bowl over. So there you guys go. Have fun playing with it, getting it set up with the way that you want it to look. But there are your different pieces, how you do your bubbles, and everything is there ready for you. Please hashtag me at Crafty Ladybug, or post photos on my Facebook page, Crafty Ladybug-Rainbow Loom Creations. And I hope you have enjoyed this quick little cauldron. Although it wasn't quick, I know it's time consuming and tedious, but it's really cute. And you guys will stay tuned for some more Halloween items that I have coming up. Bye-bye.